Now, you know, despite unanimous Republican opposition, President Obama's landmark health care reform bill was approved last night, and it really ignited passions on both sides. I mean, people spit on one of the folks. Sanders at Barney Frank. I mean, what the hell?
Wow. Yeah, it has people fired up on both sides. I think when you look at the numbers,
that's not fired up. When you go and you call it
and homophobic.
Is that the one that Sarah Palin spoken for?
No, this is, without a doubt, it's obvious that any use of those two words is igniting hatred from both sides. So what does that say? Never is that justified, ever. And it's despicable to see it from those that were elected officials, but they have done nothing more than let us down this entire year. I think when you look at the
I'm sorry,
numbers,
you can't spit on somebody because you're pissed at them. I'm sorry.
No, I'm not saying.
So you're saying that even though you were...
most of our elected officials, because we see scandal after scandal coming out this year especially.
Right.
I think when you look at the numbers, it was a 219 to 212 vote. And then if you take out those that were bribed, bullied, and shut out, if they didn't want to pass this, wait. If you take those,
we're talking about two different things. We're talking about crappy attitudes that people have in terms of yelling and spitting. Of yelling and spitting. Forget about.
No, I'm not going to forget about
what I'm asking you to do. You know, because we'll have the discussion about how you feel about health care, but the discussion of how people are handling themselves by spitting and there is no reason ever for that to be happening.
It's awful. I was trying to say why those are, I mean, undoubtedly exceptions in that room that went to a level of bigotry and hatred to prove their point. Why they're upset is where I was going. So I don't want to be told I can't understand why this hatred, aside from those two, is occurring. This is a situation where people were, this is a very close vote. It wasn't like a sweep. So you take out those, as I said before, that were bribed, bullied, and shut out. This would have never passed. And it doesn't matter.
You saying they would have done that?
Those are 2 or 3.
No, it's not 2 and 3. It's a line. It's a line of stuff that's been happening.
I'm accepting what they said. This is despicable. My point is that a lot of people are mad.
Elizabeth,
just breathe.
This has been very...
So let me make my point. It'd be easy.
Well, darling, you have.
No, I tried.
Okay, make your point.
I'm over it. I mean, apparently the decision's made. The president thinks he's smarter than the majority of Americans who did not want this passed.
There's a lot of Americans that want health care. I don't know who they're talking to, but there's a lot of Americans that want to be. There are a lot of people that want that cannot get insurance. So what do you mean not this way?
Not this way. Look at the vote.
They gave in so much to the Republicans. They asked for so much, and they put it in there. What more do you want? It's like you keep...
7 points in a vote. What does that say? The majority of Americans have spoken and said they don't want it this way.
Yes,
there was a lot of that.
What is it that bothers you? I'd like to know. What bothers you?
We're not on this topic. Let's talk about how people are calling.
No, you said you wanted to make your point. You said you weren't allowed to.
I made it.
Okay, but I want to know what is it you don't like in the bill? Yeah. What is it you don't like?
I don't like the fact that we are being. You have to opt into. You're forced into a health care plan, okay? Or you pay a fine.
Most people that are getting into a health care plan, they don't have insurance.
Or you pay a fine, okay? Yeah. This is changing the landscape of America. Anything that is a mandate is a problem.
So like insurance with your car, or your health insurance, or all the other insurances you have to get.
Okay.
It's not going to happen.
We also, when this happened, we had Medicare, Social Security were landmark decisions. One of the things that was interesting about this is that we're not sure what the anger is about. There's been so much rage in this country in general that some people, myself included, are not too sure in what sense you say it's just that you have to have mandatory insurance. I think there are other things. And one of the major things here was the whole business about funding for abortion. And that is not in the bill. And that's why a lot of these people...
Even when they took it out,
they still screamed and
screamed baby killer at the guy. The guy who voted his conscience. I don't understand why this is...
What I worry about most in this country now is this rage, and that the rage should be over something like health care. You may not like parts of it, you may like parts of it, But when you listen to John Boehner saying, shame on us, shame on this body, shame on each and every one of you who substitute your will and your desires above those of your fellow countrymen.
They don't like to lose.
We didn't take a national poll on it.
They don't want to lose. Wait a second. They don't want to lose, and they're listening to Glenn Beck, okay, these people. Yes, there's a difference between free speech and hate speech, and we've been listening to it from Beck and Limbaugh now. And these people are all juiced up by these two. That's what's happening.
And when you're talking about mandated insurance, if we have insurance, it's not affecting us. The people who have to get insurance are wanting it. They don't have insurance.
We have a mandate of right now. We're going to commercial.